Well, good morning, everyone. It's a huge pleasure to be here at last. I had my invitation months ago, and I've been looking forward to this for a really long time. I want to thank Jacques and Laetitia for the open-mindedness of inviting someone from the UK, a Brit, to come and talk about positive finance. You know, we're quite well known in the UK for our big, beefy financial sector, but we're not exactly famous for its positive social impact and social utility. But actually, something very interesting is stirring right inside our mighty investment system, in our financial system. I'm really talking about a new democratic movement, ordinary working people who have savings and investments in the big institutional investment organizations that control the major companies of the world. And that movement, I think, can bring us many of the things we dream of when we think about a positive economy. And my title, The New Front Line, is really about a new democratic movement inside finance. And I'm going to explain what I mean by that. And I'm going to give you some stories and examples over the next few minutes. And I think it's got potential to spread well beyond the borders of my country. In fact, we're already in touch with people all over the world and across Europe who want to be social innovators, social activists, democratic activists inside the financial system. Now, admittedly, this is a bit experimental. It's a little bit early to say if we're really going to transform the world into the positive economy we dream of through this method. But I'm going to present to you some new ideas, some new methods, some experiments in progress, and hope it captures your imagination and you can try something over here in Italy and the other countries that you come from. But I want to start by looking backwards in history at the democratic pioneers over the last century who have helped to build many of the things that we take for granted today, but which are fundamental to a positive economy. So my first, oh no, that's not fair, okay. Oh, I had a lovely little video clip, and it's not here. I'm sorry about that. I had a lovely little video clip of some Dutch men marching down the road for the 8-hour day. And we need to remember the people that fought and struggled for the 8-hour day. That was really a defining movement for a positive economy at the late 19th century, early 20th century. Oh, here they are. There they are. We've got them. They've gone. Okay. So next slide, come on. Next slide, I wanted to show you this lovely picture of these Spanish women in their traditional costumes, doing something which we take for granted today, but which was an amazing sight. They were casting their votes for the very first time. And that followed a struggle over many decades of women to achieve the vote. And here we have some men and women in the 1980s in Poland taking control of their destinies, taking off Soviet communist oppression, and trying to build for them a positive economy, a positive life. My next slide, you can hardly see, but this is thousands and thousands of women in Iceland in 1974 who took the day off, a day off. They left their homes, they left their workplaces, they wanted equal rights for women in Iceland, and the following year they achieved an Equal Pay Act in Iceland. So the point I'm making is that when we want to take democratic action for a positive economy, we stand on the shoulders of men and women across our continent who've taken action over those decades to achieve that. So whether in the Netherlands, in Spain, in Poland, in Iceland, these were the democratic movements. Now, the challenge we've got is that we're losing ground. And the big decision makers, the big institutional economic decision makers, are ones where we don't really have a voice. And that's what we need in the next period ahead to build. We don't have a voice today where it counts. Power is shifting. What are the institutions and structures today that shape our economic destinies? Here they are. They're the financial institutions of London, Paris, Helsinki, Frankfurt. This is where power is concentrated. Now, these institutions are shaping our economic destinies in many ways. The decisions they make are not always negative at all. There's some good decisions going on in there. There's some intelligent decisions going on in there. But the logic of our most powerful financial institutions is not one that was building the economy, the positive economy we dream of. And these capital markets institutions, these big institutional investors in particular, our pension funds, our insurance companies, the asset management organizations that look after the money of our families, communities, and institutions, they wield power that escapes today any kind of democratic accountability. And the irony of that is that those institutions are looking after our money. The power that they have derives from millions of working people across Europe every month putting in some contributions from their pay into these institutions. So they look after our money, but they don't shape an economy in the ideals that we wish. So let's look at who are the companies that they control on our behalf. So these are the great giants of the European economy. Total, Vodafone, Carrefour, E.ON. These companies' shares are controlled by insurance companies, pension funds, and asset management groups that look after our money. These are not exactly the social enterprises of a positive economy. Now, I don't want to run down what these companies do. There's fantastic work going on in the major companies of Europe. But there could be a stronger contribution by these companies to building a positive economy in the way that they deal with environmental waste, in the way that they deal with labor issues, in the way that they deal with their products and services reaching all parts of our society. And what's needed is for these companies' shareholders to be pushing them in a direction driven by a goal of a positive economy. And that's where we come in. We, the people of Europe, own equity in all of these companies. So let's just consider some of the numbers quickly. Global financial assets today are 150 trillion. EU financial assets are worth 350% of GDP. The pension funds and the insurance firms and the asset management companies of our European economy invest 35% of our household assets. And yet, we don't have the democratic controls over them or the opportunities to have a voice inside those institutions. And I want to ask, should European citizens have a voice in Europe's capital markets? Of course we should. Month by month, our money goes into these institutions to buy assets, to buy equities in the biggest companies in the world. And those companies shape our world, for good or for ill. And when we raise our voice and through the role of the shareholder, stimulate more of a debate inside those companies about the way that they have impacts upon the world, we can have a profoundly positive impact and help to build the positive economy we dream of. And so people are starting to say, I want to vote with my money. I want to represent my vision and dream of a positive economy through the assets that I own that are the equities in these major corporations. So I'm going to tell a few stories quickly of what is happening on the front line of democratic activism inside the financial system. These lovely people here, smiling at you, are members of the university pension scheme in the UK. It's the biggest pension scheme in our country. Hundreds and thousands of working people in the university sector, clerical workers, academics, administrators, who own 50 billion sterling of assets in the biggest companies in the world. And they're saying to themselves, hang on a minute, We want to be involved in the investment strategy and decisions of this institution that invests our money. We want you to listen to us. The name of the scheme is USS, and they're saying it's time to listen to us. And they ran a big campaign a few months ago, and they have generated a commitment from the board of this massive pension fund that they will start to survey and involve the membership of the scheme in the investment decisions. The people in this scheme dream and desire and understand what a positive economy looks like and feels like, and they want to use their shareholder power to bring that about. So it's a very exciting development. It's the first major pension fund in our country, in the UK, to agree to be democratically accountable to its membership around their dream of a positive economy. These 4 people have just, what you see in their hands, what they're holding up, is share certificates in BP and Shell. And these people have been involved in filing a shareholder resolution at BP and Shell. Next week, BP holds its annual general meeting. And on the general meeting, all of the shareholders around the world will be voting on a resolution on climate change. Because we know that although these major oil companies have delivered fantastic energy into our societies and helped to build wealth for our pension funds, they have a business model that today is on a path to really destabilizing our economy, destabilizing our societies. We need them to change tack. And what I'm incredibly proud of is these 4 people are amongst 150 ordinary people just like you who filed this shareholder resolution. And we've had a petition so that all across the UK, all across Europe and in America and elsewhere, people can send a signal to the major shareholders in BP and Shell saying, come on, support this resolution. We need BP and Shell to take climate change seriously. Let's give climate change a seat at the table. And look who's come on board. We've got APG, the biggest Dutch pension fund, Aviva, Natixis, Robeco. These have all committed to supporting the shareholder resolution on climate change at BP and Shell. It's demonstrating how ordinary people can translate their desires into the most powerful system on earth, the capital market system, our global capital market system. I haven't got time, really, because I'm overrunning. But just to say that on living wages, which is a major campaign, we've got shareholders backing the campaign in the UK for the living wage. Major shareholders have been prompted to do that by all sorts of people whose money they look after. And we've now got many of the biggest companies in our economy paying a wage that is enough for people to live on. It's a supercharged, shareholder-charged version of corporate social responsibility. So, just in conclusion, I would encourage you to become involved in this movement for a democratic renewal inside our investment system. Become a socially motivated shareholder activist. Make your money count. Make it vote. And that's one of the ways we're going to build a positive economy in Europe. Thank you very much.